Cabo Verde and Spain drew 0-0 in the Spain's opening World Cup match, and I know what everyone else is thinking. How the hell did Spain manage to botch this game? A lot of questions. I'll try to answer some of these questions. What was Luis de la Fuente thinking when he put Gavi as a winger? What was up with the substitutions that took forever to come? Why was a stubborn low block like Cabo Verde's unpenetrable for a team that has so many options to cause chaos for any opponent? Let's take a look at everything. Let's start with the raw stats because the numbers are absolutely surreal. Spain has the ball for 76% of the match, Cabo Verde only 24%. Spain completed over 750 passes, Cabo Verde only 200. In the attacking half, Spain had 593 passes or something, Cabo Verde only 22. Spain put out 27 shots, but only 7 of them were targeted. Every single one of them was saved by Vozinha, the Cabo Verde goalkeeper. Does this sound all familiar to you? Does it kind of bring you back to the old Spain, where they used to do all this Tiki-Taka and hoard possession, but then they used to completely mess up the flow of the game and not actually score? We thought Luis de la Fuente has banished those ghosts of the Spanish national team. That side-by-side sterile possession, that's gone. But so far, it looks like, even in a game of this stature, no offense to Cabo Verde, but even against Cabo Verde, if you cannot trouble the goalkeeper, then you don't deserve to be in the World Cup, frankly. Luis de la Fuente set up his side to dominate through intricate passing, creating a midfield of Rodri, Pedri, and Fabian Ruiz. But Cabo Verde's coach, Bubista, put out a 4-2-3-1 formation for Cabo Verde that whenever they needed to go onto a low block or that needed to transition to a defensive state would seamlessly go to a 4-5-1 formation. Instead of chasing shadows or pressing Spain way too much, they knew that Spain will just pass on from side to side, so they were happy to give up the possession in the middle third. They only were concerned about when the ball came too close to their goal, which barely ever happened. It was more like Cabo Verde be like, okay, you can pass around all you want outside our perimeter, but once you come to this area, we will shut you out. And they did that. Before we talk about Spain, we need to talk about Vozinha, the 40-year-old goalkeeper for Cabo Verde. If you are looking for a story for FIFA World Cup 2026, that feel-good story that we have at every World Cup, Vozinha's story, alongside many of the Cabo Verde players' story, is right up there. The 40-year-old could not even afford to pay for his mother's visa or something for her to come and see him. And before the match started, he had less than 50,000 followers, and now he has 5 million on Instagram. Because Spain actually did manage to break through in the first half a few times. Ferran Torres has good chances, but we'll talk about all that later. But just talking about Vozinha, his single-handedly, even if he did not make saves, he was there to trouble the Spanish attackers enough that it would put them off of whatever shot they were taking. We saw that with Ferran Torres. Aymeric Laporte's header was saved by Vozinha, and he officially recorded 7 saves in this match. That is a record. I think it's the second most saves by a goalkeeper aged over 40 in a World Cup, and the last time it was done was back in 1966. Spain did have 11 corners, and in every single corner, every single Spain corner that they attacked, Vozinha was there as a presence to either shake the Spanish attack or come out and clear it or claim it. He was just absolutely unstoppable. He would come out, either he would catch the ball, he would punch the ball, and as a goalkeeper playing against Spain, he remarkably had 49 touches. That is insane for a goalkeeper. And as the game progressed and Spain could not find a way through, it became so visible that Spain were frustrated and exhausted by Vozinha's performances. But now let's talk about Spain and their tactical stubbornness and everything wrong with them. First thing first is, why is Gavi starting as a left winger? Why are your wingers Gavi and Ferran Torres? Look, I don't have a Barcelona bias. I'm a Barcelona fan, so I will not be a guy who will not criticize my players when they're playing for the country. How do you go and start? I mean, maybe you got a bit too overconfident. You thought it's just Cabo Verde, nothing bad will happen, and you start a wing pairing of Ferran Torres, who played on the right, Gavi on the left. Now Gavi, just in context, without insulting the man, Gavi barely has played any matches for Barcelona, and whenever he's played as a central midfielder and has played as like one of those destroyer profiles, not as a playmaker, not as a man who will take on the defense. So why, Luis de la Fuente, did you think, when you have options like Alex Baena, when you have options like, I don't know, Mikel Oyarzabal on the left, Mikel Merino down the middle, Dani Olmo can play on the left, you had Victor Munoz, I would say, but Munoz was carrying a muscle overload, so understandable. When you have all that options, and you don't find a replacement for Nico Williams, why would you go with the most stubborn option? The days of Spain, I literally, in my last video where I made about Spain's tactics and how they will face the World Cup, I literally said that the days of using central midfielders as wide wingers in the Spain setup are done. It's not Andres Iniesta anymore. It's not David Silva anymore. The game doesn't progress like that anymore. You cannot have control. You cannot have midfield profiles playing on the wing in international tournaments anymore. It just doesn't work. You need specific profiles for specific positions. And De La Fuente absolutely not. He absolutely, I don't know, lost his mind before the game. There were so many. Starting a 4-4-2, I don't give a damn. Play two strikers, I don't give a damn. Gavi should not be anywhere near the wing. It's just bizarre. Mikel Oyarzabal did not have a touch for the first 30 minutes of the game. As not even a single touch. But do I really blame him? Yeah, well, Mikel Oyarzabal is a player that thrives when Spain are using fast-paced wingers because it allows Mikel Oyarzabal to drop into the midfield and link up play. When he drops into the midfield, the wingers that are on either side of him use their pace to, get behind the defense and attack the penalty box. The wingers for Spain against Cabo Verde barely had any pace. Ferran Torres is not the flashiest winger. Gavi, no. So Mikel Oyarzabal is stranded between two worlds. Does he stay up in attack, help with being a target man if the crosses ever come? But the crosses won't come because you don't have Lamine Yamal doing the trivelas, you don't have Nico Williams taking on defenders. Gavi and Ferran Torres will not deliver. So Mikel Oyarzabal is torn between two worlds. Should he come back? Should he go forward? What does he do? 30 minutes, no touches. He struggled to hold up the ball or find any pockets of space. And the few chances he got, yeah, he botched it up. I think his confidence was just too low for the rest of the game. By the 71st minute is when Luis de la Fuente started to think about changes. Any sane person who was seeing it could know that by the 55th minute, you should have got off Gavi, you should have brought Dani Olmo. Aitana Bonmati, who is a player, world champion for Spain actually. She was doing punditry on Mexican television, and she said the exact same things we wanted to say. Look at this tweet. Look at what she said. If you are going to be chasing the game, why don't you sub on people early? And the profiles Spain have are quite unique. If you're going to aim for head, if you're going to aim for a reliable finisher, why is Borja Iglesias still on the bench? Why did he doesn't get any minutes? Why did you wait so long to take off Gavi? Why? Yeah, Nico Williams was injured. Lamine Yamal was injured. What would you rather have? Would you not have them play 30 minutes to kind of salvage a point, or are you saving yourself to maybe score 6 out of 6 points against Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, which I don't think is possible. If you saw the game between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, it's a game of two halves. They played spectacularly well, and it's not going to be as easy for Spain as they thought it might be before the tournament, because Cabo Verde on paper might have been their easiest opponent. After Fabian Ruiz and Gavi got hooked, Lamine Yamal came on, and I think that was the moment that Spain truly looked like a team that was a formidable unit. And if Lamine Yamal had 20 more minutes on the pitch, he would have made a difference. In just 20 minutes on the pitch, Lamine Yamal completed 5 successful dribbles, which is more than any other player on the pitch for Spain. He created chaos, forcing Cabo Verde to double team him, triple team him, leaving space open for other players to exploit. And this was not happening with Ferran Torres on the right wing. Even Dani Olmo and Nico Williams, when they came on, the left side of the pitch became so dominant for Spain. Lamine Yamal was doing his magic, getting players dragged over to the right side. Meanwhile, Nico Williams and Dani Olmo were unmarked, and that's something that Spain should have tried so much earlier on. You have profiles like that. I understand not trusting Alex Baena, or I understand not trusting anyone else, Victor Munoz in a debut, but why are you trusting Gavi then? You have other options. Play Dani Olmo on the left, and everything that we saw from the 70-minute onwards would have been happening much earlier on. But Cabo Verde, nothing against them. They played the game of their life. Vozinha, freaking Ryan Mendes, Livramento, Pico Lopez, Duarte, everyone, Kevin Bean, everyone was on point. Everyone, it was not an upset, I would say. It was a deserved result for Cabo Verde. They got through to the World Cup. It was not handed to them. It was not a fortunate qualification that other teams played bad, so Cabo Verde finally got lucky and made it into the World Cup. No, they topped their group with Cameroon, qualified automatically, and they deserved it. And now they faced the 2010 World Champions, 2024 Euro Champions. That's it. It was a tactical blunder of epic proportions. I think there's so much could have been changed. Even during the match, so much of it could have been changed. Discard your philosophy of sideways 1,000 passes and discard your philosophy of playing central midfielders on the wing. It has not worked for Spain before. It will never work until the Tiki-Taka, the ghosts of the old Tiki-Taka are banished and Spain actually attempt to realistically play better football. That we know, we saw that in the Euro, We saw that in the Euros. They had a great team and then they won the championship. If they can do it 2 years ago, why can't they do it now? The team is basically more or less the same. If not, it's much better now. More players are in form coming off of a great domestic season. But if you're gonna make rookie mistakes like that in a World Cup stage, Luis de la Fuente, I'm sorry, just move on and, make Aitana Bonmati the coach or something, because she is thinking better than you at this point. As the final whistle blew, Cabo Verde knew that they made history. Their first point at a World Cup in their first ever game. They still have 2 more games, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay, and if they keep on playing like this, if they can shut down Spain, I don't think Uruguay and Saudi Arabia will be much of a problem. They might actually get points against every one of them. And Cabo Verde now are in a great position to qualify for the knockouts. Can you imagine that? Because 3 teams will qualify from their group, right? Can you imagine Cabo Verde actually qualifying? That's an incredible story, and I hope it happens. I do hope it happens. And if Spain actually, because of this result now, because if Spain finishes second in their group and Argentina win their group, it's going to be Spain versus Argentina in the round of 32. Spain don't get their together. Maybe they don't deserve to win the tournament. So let's see. We'll talk about this round of 32. We will find out what happens over the next 2 weeks. But for now, I think for Cabo Verde, this is pure magic. For Spain, this is absolute horror. Luis de la Fuente, brother, get your bald head running and make solutions and don't overthink. I know bald managers have a thing for overthinking. I'm looking at you, Pep Guardiola. Spanish ball managers overthink a lot. But Luis de la Fuente, you're carrying the hopes of 43 million people on your back, on your bald head rather. So take care of it, man. Okay, well, what are your thoughts on this match? Drop me your comments about what you thought about Cabo Verde's performance, about Spain's performance, the tactics and the analysis. Let me read some of your comments and probably feel a bit better. Okay, I'll see you for the next live stream whenever it is. Maybe Spain versus Spain plays Saudi Arabia next. So maybe I'll see you for that live stream. And yeah, keep watching the World Cup. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.